90-Day Fiancé fans want to know if Joan Kruchov is pregnant with Chillak's baby. Here's everything she has revealed about the rumors. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching for more details. Joan Kruchov from 90-Day Fiancé had a message for her homies who think she's pregnant, and here's what she's revealed about her life in the US. Joan is from Kampala, Uganda, and lives with Chillak in Islip Terrace, New York. The couple currently star in 90-Day Fiancé Season 11, with a majority of their storyline revolving around Joan being unhappy with having no plans in life. Is an aspiring baker with no job who lives with his mother, Lucille, in her house. I'll admit it, I felt bad for Joan when she learned she'd have to share the house with Lucille and that couldn't afford a new apartment. Lucille even asked them to have separate rooms and tracked how many times Joan showered each day. However, I can't understand how Joan didn't know about Greg's codependent lifestyle, especially after giving up her life to move to America and marry him. Now, there seems to be a new development in their story, and once again, it makes me question Joan's intentions. Is she really in it for love, or something else? How did Joan meet Greg? The way Greg met Joan is complicated and also raised some red flags in my head. Greg had fallen asleep on a man's shoulder during a flight. The man was from Uganda, where he owned a safari company. Greg and the man talked for 6.5 hours straight, and the man ended up inviting Greg to Uganda. Greg packed his bags and left for Africa. He checked into the guest house and saw Joan within the first hour and a half of him being in Uganda. I didn't understand what Joan was doing at a guest house if she was living in the city. Greg also revealed that he'd chatted very little with Joan. He recalled telling her about his weight loss journey. However, 1.5 years later, Greg was still thinking about Joan and how he let her get away. He never figured out how Joan found him on social media. He couldn't believe that he'd got a friend request from her. Greg went back to Uganda a second time. He proposed to Joan on her birthday. Now, Greg was ready to marry Joan by bringing her to America on a K-1 visa. Joan has responded to pregnancy rumors. It appears Joan has been living in the US for a while now. The show doesn't reveal the timeline of when it was filmed, but Greg and Joan did seem to visit New York sometime towards the end of 2024 in episode 11. It's not known when the rumors of Joan possibly being pregnant may have started, but it was something Joan felt like she should address. In April 2025, Joan shared some Instagram story updates to address rumors of her having a baby with Greg. 90-Day Fiancé _Alexa reposted these stories on their account, which showed a TikTok video Joan had shared on her stories. It showed her wearing a pretty purple dress, surrounded by lush greenery as she played with her hair. Joan captioned the post, "How do I explain to my homies that I'm not pregnant?" Joan added that it was just the American food she had been eating since leaving Uganda that was making her gain weight, like crazy. Joan proceeded to share a different picture of herself, clicked in a garden where she stood against a tree laden with pink flowers. Joan posed like a model in her orange jumpsuit, but it seemed she didn't like the way she looked in it. She captioned it, "Sometimes I just look bloated." I noticed that Joan replied to a few comments on the blogger's post where she told a fan that they only buy organic groceries now. She assured 90-Day Fiancé viewers that she would soon consult a nutritionist. Will Joan split with Greg in the future? I have this gut feeling that Joan could indeed be pregnant and is hiding it now just to save her storyline from getting spoiled. This has happened before in the case of other cast members, such as Tiger Lily Taylor, Memphis Smith, Thais Ramone, etc., who had to keep their pregnancies a secret until the season ended so they could unveil the truth during the tell-all. I don't think I could fully trust Joan anyway. It wasn't the same when she was first introduced. Greg's mother came across as inhospitable to Joan and made her feel unwelcome. However, she didn't deserve the mean taunts Joan had been throwing at her. Joan told Greg's mother that she should leave the house more often, so Joan could have privacy. She even watched her reaction, as if she were intentionally testing Lucille. It made me wonder if Joan had planned her first meeting with Greg and used him as a way to come to the US. Could it be that Joan might leave Greg after having his baby? The 90-Day Fiancé star's mean-spirited comment really left me feeling disappointed.